What if I told you 20,000 women dropped everything? Kitchen tools, market baskets, even their dreams, to pick up shovels and build a nation for free. No pay, no fame, just pure love for their country. This isn't a fairy tale. It's Burkina Faso right now, and it's about to blow your mind. Keep watching to see how these women are changing history, one brick at a time. Thank you for joining us. What if I told you 20,000 women put down their tools of daily life and picked up shovels to build a future for free? Not for pay, not for fame, but for their country. This is not a movie. It's Burkina Faso today, and you're about to witness something extraordinary. In the heart of West Africa, a silent revolution is unfolding. Not with guns, not with protests, but with bare hands, wheelbarrows, headscarves, and an unbreakable spirit. Burkina Faso, once labeled one of the world's poorest nations, is showing the world what true nation building looks like. At the front lines of this transformation are not just soldiers, politicians, or international aid. They are women, ordinary women, mothers, traders, widows, students, farmers, more than 20,000 of them. They've made a choice that has stunned the world, to work voluntarily, without pay, on construction sites across the country. They're mixing cement, lifting gravel, flattening roads, building drainage systems, raising the foundation of the nation, literally. To understand the full depth of this story, we need to understand the context. Burkina Faso, under Captain Ibrahim Traoré, is undergoing one of the most intense periods of transition in its modern history. Faced with terrorism, economic instability, and the legacy of neocolonialism, the country found itself at a crossroads. But instead of collapsing, the people stood up, and the women, they didn't just stand. They carried bricks on their heads and marched toward progress. We are not just women. We are warriors, says Mariam Cabaret, one of the volunteers helping construct a rural access road in the Sahel region. I don't need to be paid, says Asada, a 39-year-old mother of 5 from Waiguya. My pay is seeing our children go to school safely. This is our country, says Fatou, 24, a student turned volunteer. No one will build it for us. It's our blood that will mix with the cement if it must, says Yvette, 62, a grandmother. This is the mindset of a people awakened. From the dusty roads of Kays to the farmlands of Banfora, these women are involved in nation-building projects. They're building rural and inner-city roads, connecting isolated villages to towns for the first time in decades. They're constructing school fences and compounds, making it safer for children. They're creating drainage systems to prevent deadly floods during the rainy season and public sanitation zones to ensure dignity in neglected communities. Each project is tied to development, but more importantly, it's tied to dignity. They are not building roads. They are building hope. Let's pause here and analyze this with the lens of economics. In any normal system, labor is expensive. Governments rely on taxes, aid, or loans to fund infrastructure. But in Burkina Faso, something new is happening. Voluntary civic labor, inspired not by coercion but by patriotic commitment, has drastically reduced the cost of public works. Roads that would have cost billions in CFA are now being constructed at a fraction of the cost. Imagine the economic ripple effects. Budget savings redirected to education, defense, and health. Public morale increases. Corruption is cut off when people see what's being built. Dependency on foreign aid is reduced. This is not just labor. It's resistance through development. None of this would be possible without a national vision, and that comes from the top. Captain Ibrahim Traoré, seen by many as a people's leader, has sparked a wave of grassroots patriotism. Since taking over in 2022, he has pushed for sovereignty, security, and African dignity. His speeches often end with the same message: we will build this country with our own hands. And Burkinabe women have responded, literally. Traoré has not begged international donors. He has not waited for France. He has not turned to the IMF with a begging bowl. Instead, he has turned inward to the soul of the Burkinabe people, and they have answered the call. At Africa Vibe News, our mission is to showcase the stories that global media ignores, the stories that prove Africa is not just surviving but thriving. This movement in Burkina Faso isn't just about building roads. It's about reclaiming agency. It's about restoring the dignity of African labor. It's about rewriting the narrative. And that's why you, our audience, need to hear this, because this story is not just about Burkina Faso. It's about what's possible across Africa. To understand the full weight of what's happening in Burkina Faso, we must go deeper, beyond the images of women lifting bricks and smoothing gravel. We must go back into Burkina Faso's history, to a time when the soil was soaked not just in labor, but in sacrifice. This isn't the first time the Burkinabe people have risen up to reclaim their future. In the 1980s, a young revolutionary named Thomas Sankara dared to dream of self-reliant Burkina Faso. He planted trees, vaccinated millions, refused foreign aid with conditions, and above all, empowered women. You cannot carry out fundamental change without a certain degree of madness, said Thomas Sankara. That same energy, the madness of hope, the courage to believe in us, is what we see today in these 20,000 women. Many of them never met Sankara. Some weren't even born when he was assassinated, but his spirit never left. And now, under the leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, that spirit is being revived. A new chapter is being written, one brick at a time. You might imagine volunteers in construction to be trained engineers or government workers. But here's the reality. Some are market traders who sell tomatoes by day and shovel sand at dawn. Others are nurses who leave the clinic to mix concrete after hours. There are grandmothers who say they're too old to fight with guns, but not too old to fight with their hands. What are they actually building? Let's break down the projects these 20,000 women are involved in. Reconnecting communities. They're building new rural roads in provinces like Nangana, Bam, and Zondoma, repairing and expanding key routes to markets, clinics, and schools. They're clearing and securing old paths once abandoned due to terrorist threats. Safe zones for women and children. Volunteers are leading construction of protective walls around schools and community centers, drainage canals to prevent flooding in low-income areas, emergency shelters for displaced families and women fleeing violence. Training and mentorship. This isn't just manual work. It's transformation. Local engineers are training women in masonry, carpentry, and surveying. Youth are shadowing volunteers, learning construction as a future career. Women are teaching other women, creating a national chain of empowerment. It's a revolution of skill, not slogans. You may ask, why would anyone work for free for weeks in the hot Sahel sun? It's not about money. It's about revenge, not through bullets, but through rebirth. It's about honor, because after years of foreign troops, coups, and abandonment, the people have chosen to rely on themselves. It's about legacy, because they know no foreign power will build Burkina Faso. France left us. The world abandoned us. But we didn't abandon ourselves, says one volunteer. If I don't build this school, who will? Since the initiative began just a few months ago, the results are mind-blowing. Over 350 kilometers of rural roads constructed or rehabilitated. More than 110 schools and clinics fenced and upgraded. Thousands of displaced families resettled through women-built shelters. 500 young women, now trained in construction skills. Zero salaries. 100% volunteer work. This isn't just construction. It's civilian defense through development. The government's response? Captain Ibrahim Traoré has personally visited several of these sites. He's not offering money. He's offering recognition, and that's more powerful. At one recent event, he said, "This country belongs to its people. Today, our mothers, sisters, and daughters have reminded us that our strength lies not in what we are given, but in what we give." The government is now supporting women-led cooperatives with tools and safety equipment, offering land certificates and business licenses to volunteers, and encouraging other ministries to adopt this model. Mainstream Western media barely covers this movement. Why? Because it doesn't fit the narrative of Africa in crisis. But at Africa Vibe News, we don't wait for headlines. We create them. We document the pulse of our continent. And right now, that pulse is pounding loud and strong in Burkina Faso. This spirit is bigger than one country. Across Africa, eyes are turning to Burkina Faso. In Mali, women's groups have asked to learn from this model. In Niger, youth movements are studying the structure of the volunteers. In Guinea, civil societies are calling for similar patriotic projects. This isn't just a movement, it's a spark. And if it catches, Africa will never be the same again. What does a day in the life of these volunteer women actually look like? It begins before sunrise and ends after sunset. At 4:30 a.m., the day starts before most of the country wakes up. These women are already preparing, wrapping their heads with scarves, filling metal kettles to boil water for millet porridge, gathering at designated points with their buckets, gloves, and shovels. They don't wait for transportation. Many walk miles to reach the site. We walk in the dark. Sometimes we sing on the way. It gives us strength. We are not afraid, says one volunteer. At first light, the construction sites come alive. There is no heavy machinery, just hands, just hearts. Some women carry stones from nearby hills. Others mix cement in shallow pits with their bare feet. Some line up gravel and bricks in neat formation for the masons. A few stand watch, ensuring tools aren't stolen by nighttime looters. They sing while working. They joke. They encourage each other. The air smells of dust, sweat, and pride. At 12 o'clock noon, it's time for community cooking. Lunch is not bought. It's made by hand in large iron pots. They prepare toa, the local staple made from millet or maize, with leaf sauces of baobab and okra, sometimes dried fish or peanuts if donations are available. Each woman contributes a handful of grain. No one eats alone. No one eats first. The spirit of solidarity feeds them more than the food. At 2 p.m., they rest and reflect. One volunteer, Kambasari, says, "This is not slavery. This is choice. We rest because our bodies are tired, but our spirit is strong." By 4 p.m., with the sun tilting westward, they return to work. Children, back from school, join to help. Teenagers sweep debris. Elders offer advice. In some locations, men come in the evening hours to lift what the women prepared. It has become a partnership, a new social contract where dignity replaces dependency. At 7 p.m., they close the day. The last wheelbarrow is emptied. The women form circles, pray, dance, and raise their hands, saying the same words every evening. Burkina Faso Kodo. Burkina Faso, rise up. Then they walk home, sometimes in sandals, sometimes barefoot, always united. Why do they still choose to stay? This isn't easy work. Many carry scars, physical and emotional, blisters, infections, exhaustion from long hours, children left with neighbors or elderly parents. Some husbands disapprove, others support. A few join in. One woman volunteer from Kaya says, "My husband first said, 'Are you mad?' But when he saw me on TV mixing cement, he said, 'Maybe your madness is the kind we need.'" In a region where women have often been treated as background labor, this movement has thrust them into center stage. What's happening in Burkina Faso today is not just volunteerism. It's the redefinition of womanhood in West Africa. From unpaid domestic roles to voluntary national architects, from victims of violence to vanguards of peace, from unrecognized citizens to guardians of sovereignty. Across radio stations, schools, and mosques, people now say, "It was the women who saved Burkina Faso." If this story has touched you, share it. If it has inspired you, comment below. Tell us, what would you build for your country if money wasn't the reason, only love was? And don't forget to subscribe to Africa Vibe News, where the soul of Africa has a voice. Burkina Faso has shown us something the world forgot. Nation building is not reserved for politicians, soldiers, or foreign investors. It belongs to the people. This is a living model of development from the inside out. Voluntary civic service rooted in pride, not poverty. Leadership through example, not entitlement. Pan-African dignity, not IMF dependency. Women leading not behind men, but beside them. Other African nations are watching. If they listen closely, they'll hear something remarkable rising from the red soil. The sound of Africa rebuilding itself, one road, one hand, one woman at a time. At Code of Lion, we don't just report stories, we celebrate movements. This is not just news, this is history in motion. Burkina Faso has spoken. The question is, will Africa answer? Like, share, subscribe, and tell us in the comments, what does building your country mean to you? Would you volunteer if your future depended on it? Tag a woman who inspires you. Share this video with someone who still believes change is impossible. To the women of Burkina Faso, we see you. We honor you. You are the foundation not just of your country, but of a continent rising from its own dust. To Africa, it is time we stop waiting for heroes, because they're already here, and many of them wear wraps, not capes. This has been a special feature from Code of LI0N, where Africa tells her story with her own voice.